Hello, everyone. Thank you for stopping by to watch this broadcast. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate you. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, tell your friends and your family members to subscribe. Share, and share. As much as possible, I would like to know your opinion on some of the topical issues discussed on this platform. I want it to be as interactive as possible. So join me today again as I bring on to your attention another juicy topical issue. Something must kill a man. Something must do what? Delete a man. This is a general saying. Sometimes when you see an average man maybe misbehaving and the friends or family members are trying to caution him not to, trying to warn him, trying to remind him of the um, consequences of his action. Most times they will say, well, something must kill a man. Something must kill a man. If HIV doesn't kill a man, the house where the man is living can actually collapse, or the man can go out and have an accident, or something must always. So people like that is they normally are saying to you they're not afraid of death, but the thing is not about the fear of death. What they should be scared of is the legacy they're leaving behind. The legacy they're leaving behind is the consequences of their action. I saw something today on Facebook. I think it's by on a page. I think they call themselves Remarkable Books, and in that page, it's actually posted a quotation by Jean Jacques Rousseau, and it says, "Every age has its different inclinations. Every age has its different inclinations, but man is always the same. At 10, he is led by sweetness, chocolates, sweeties, strawberries, chocolate, all kinds of ice cream. You know what little boys, the age of 10 and below, what they love. At 20, by a mistress. So at the age of 20, a man's libido is so high, he's senseless, he's reckless, he can tell about 50 women that he loves them all at the same time, even though he doesn't love any one of them. And sometimes doesn't even know what love is, doesn't love himself because nobody has told him what love truly is. Uh, let's look at what a man is at 30. At 30, he's driven by pleasure. So from 20 to 30, even remember then at this stage, he is already perhaps financially stable, depending on the country where he is at that time. And then so he can use his money to influence, he can use his money to buy love, he can use his money to deceive a whole lot of women. Or he calls it pleasure. He never stays home weekends. He goes to clubs, he goes to pubs, he goes to parties, he's partying to, uh, 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 till the dawn of the next day and all of that. He has his clique of friends. They are partying. They do all sorts of things. They are dating maybe 5, 10 girls at the same time. They don't mind even dating two best friends or even two sisters. It's nothing to them. They are reckless. At 40, he's driven by ambition. Remember now, at 40, by now he's married, he's simmering down, he's getting a lot of wisdom. He now has a lot of experiences about life. He's been through a lot of disappointments and has also betrayed a lot of people, perhaps has learned lessons from this betrayal. Maybe also has been heartbroken once or twice by these numerous women that he just keeps playing around with. And this is, of course, this is why they say a fool at 40 is a fool forever. So now he's no more driven, well, supposedly, he's no more driven by pleasure or by the pleasures of women or by carnality. He's now ambitious. He wants to make a name. He wants to make a mark. He wants to impress. Now, sometimes he's working hard. He wants to have titles. He wants to be called doctor, so so and so. He wants to be called deacon, so so and so. He wants to be called. He goes to even sometimes to pay money to have that doctorate, that title, a doctor, added to his name. He goes to pay money. He wants to be called a chief. He goes to get a chieftaincy title in his community, in his locality. He begins to do things to, obviously, that will that will impress on others because he's ambitious. He wants to go into politics. He wants to it's doing a whole lot of things because all at that time he becomes extremely very selfish. He's thinking about fame, he's thinking about name, he's thinking about what people think about him in the society. Sometimes if you manage to if you're unlucky to be engaged in a kind of altercation with him, the first thing he will ask you is that, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Do you know who you are talking to? And all of that. You see, so um and then at 50, he's driven by avarice. He's driven by avarice. Avarice is extreme greed. Avarice is another level of greed. He's driven by greed, extreme greed. He wants to acquire money, he wants to acquire wealth, he wants to acquire, you know, he's driven by I would say destructive greed. The level of greed that will destroy him. The level of greed that will destroy him. So, how is this related to the topic I'm discussing today? Remember, this quote says every age has its different inclination, but man is always the same. At 10, he is led by sweetness. At 20, by a mistress. At 30, by pleasure. At 40, by ambition. And at 50, by avarice, greed. As a man, what drives you? What motivates you? How old are you? Take, for example, even if you are 25, right now you're watching this video, you're on this platform. Thank you very much for stopping by. Give me a minute of your time. Don't touch the dial. Don't flip over to another video. Listen to this video to the end. You might learn one or two things that will help you in life. Perhaps you are on a wrong path. Perhaps you may have derailed. Perhaps you are driven by pleasure. You are driven by titles. You are driven by extreme greed. You are driven by mistresses. You are married and you are carrying mistresses, or you are single and you have a trail, a chain of mistresses. And you keep saying to yourself, so, I'm not going to stop because anyway, something must kill a man. Let me remind you of something. Your life is important. Your life, you are on this earth for a reason. There is a purpose for which you are on this earth. And it's not going to be forever. Even if you are 25 right now, you're watching this video. Have you thought of it? Are you going to live forever? In another 50 years' time, when you are 75, are you still going to be jumping from one bar to the other, from one club to the other, from one strange woman's bed to the other? What will be the legacy what do you want to be remembered for? What time do you have to start planning to live a life of purpose? What is the guarantee that you even have that you are promised another 75 years or 50 years. What is the guarantee? Let me take you back to all the incidences in the past 2 years, pandemic, where people will sleep and not wake up. Families will sleep and not wake up. You see somebody posting something today on social media, the next day you are seeing RIP, you are told that the person is no more. What is the guarantee that you have? So I have a message for you. Life is governed by principles. Until you realize that life is governed by principles, you will begin to live your life intentionally. Life is governed by principles. Every life that is not lived by, that is not governed by principles, right? Every life that is not governed by principles would end up facing the consequences. So perhaps you are 20 and you think you still have time to gallivant, you still have time to break hearts, you still have time to party till the early hours of the morning. You still have time to mess around. You still have time to tell 50 women at the same time you love them. You still have time to squander all your wages. Life is governed by principles. Live your life on purpose. Begin to sit back now after watching this video. Begin to ask yourself questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What is the purpose for which I am here on earth? Am I just passing through like a stranger, and when I'm gone, nothing will be remembered of me? Am I just passing through as a stranger that when I'm gone, even the mention of my name, people will still be heartbroken remembering my name just to hear that my name is mentioned? Is that the kind of life that you want to live? Life is governed by principles. Do not live your life recklessly. It is said that a fool at 40 is a fool forever. Rightly said. If you are 40 and over, life is governed by principles. There is no time anymore for you as a 40-year-old man. Now is the time for you to now start putting all your plans, all your purpose, all your reason for living, for being on this earth. Put your plans in place. If you're a business owner, this is the time for you to start tidying up, taking your business more seriously. If you are working, you're an employee, working on and you're an employed person, this is the time for you to start thinking about your life. Begin to plan, begin to live a life of purpose. A life lived, a life of purpose is a life that is lived intentionally. A life of purpose is a life that is lived thinking about consequences. A life of purpose is a life lived trying to think about, look at other people's downfall, how, and then learning from other people's mistakes. A life lived with purpose is a life that picks from other people's mistakes in order that you may not be made a statistics by other people, other learners tomorrow in life. You are 40, you are 42, you are 45, you are 50. What other time do you think you have to correct your mistakes? If the path that you are toiling now is not the right path. How many more years do you have to correct your mistakes? How many more years do you have at 50, at 45, at 60, at 65? How many more years do you have to form a good relationship with the children of your youth? The children are not going to live with you in the house forever. They are not going to continue to be children waiting for you while you are running and misbehaving. A time will come, they'll become adults of their own and they are gone. And before you know it, the years are gone. They will not wait for you. And if you did not manage to form a bond and a relationship with them, now that you have the time, unfortunately, time waits for no one. A day will come when you pick up your phone to call them, they will say to you, "Sorry, Dad, I'm away in Spain. I'm not coming back until 2 weeks' time. And even when I come back, I don't think I'll be able to see you because I'll be busy." A lot of times we are busy in our 40s, in our 50s, in our 30s, trying to impress friends. Friends who are trying to, that don't even know whether we exist. Friends who are actually fair weather friends. They just want to boogie down with us. They want to party with us. They want us to spend money to go clubbing. They were discussing with them, discussing about womanizing, discussing about the last chick we're with, discussing all kinds of frivolities that will not make, that will not help us to form a good legacy in life. We're busy trying to impress those friends. We're busy trying to show that we are macho at the expense of building relationships with our children and our family members, our wives, who are the ones that are most important to us, that will be there for us in our 70s and our 80s to take care of us so that as an elderly or as an old man, we don't live a fallen life. I keep saying these things. If a mother is expected to put in 20% of commitment in forming a bond with her children, the father eh, is also not even putting not expected to put in 20%. The father is expected to put in 60 additional percent in order to form a bond and a strong tie with his children. So whilst we're trying to form relationships with friends outside, God has put people around us who we should put first in making sure that our relationship with them is solid, because these are the people that will be there for us on our sick bed, on our deathbed. These are the people who will remember all the limestones in our lives. These are the people who remember when we are promoted, when we are down, when we are sick, when we are broke, when we have nothing. They will be there for us. But it is interesting that those people who are the most important aspect of our lives, they are the least in our list of priority. They are the least appreciated and the least carried along in our list of priority. What am I saying? Men, get your priorities right. Get your priorities right. I don't know what it is that is in the air. Everywhere you go, even on social media, at least I've seen some platforms, some YouTubers, some women, issues of divorce, issues of abandonment. I was actually watching a video of a woman based in Canada, 20 years of her life spent with a man. And then what did she get? One day, he, I think 20 years of being together, 6 or 7 years of being married. So 20 years in total. And she later found him, caught him cheating. She said to herself, "You know what? Well, this is the first time." And according to her, he didn't just cheat once with just one woman, he was a serial cheat. She was graceful enough to also say, "You know what? I've forgiven him. Let's try and build back the trust." And she actually thought they were building back trust together. On the fateful day that he left and never came back, he actually prepared lunch for her, served her lunch, which was like a routine. That was part of their lifestyle where he would usually go and help out in the kitchen, which was part of some of the good qualities he had. After serving her with that lunch, not knowing that she was in the basement because she worked from home, She was in the basement working. He packed his things and he was gone. He did not just leave the city or the country, he left and went to another continent. So I'm not sure how a majority or how men are raised. I'm not sure. This is why every time I keep saying on this platform, we need positive male mentors. We need positive male role models. We need to begin to teach our sons from a very young age the importance of commitment in relationships, the importance of compassion, the importance of loyalty, the importance of not hurting people who God have placed in our lives, the importance of actually making sure you marry a woman that you genuinely love, and in making that choice, being futuristic, it's not after 5 years, 10 years, you now get tired and then you just abandon her like a hot pot of coal, as if she never meant anything to you. And then you move on to the next woman. And after 5 years, you are tired again. You leave that woman. You just go about around town, all over the world, breaking women to pieces, making some end up in psychiatric hospitals, causing some their untimely death, causing some to actually hate men, even though not all men are like this. There are some men, they choose the right path, no matter how they were raised. Once they have come to the age of knowledge, they decide to say to themselves, you know what, I'm not going to go down that same route that my dad went. I have seen this destroy so many men. I've seen it destroy my uncles. I've seen it destroy my dad. I'm not going to go down that route. And they do the right thing. They discipline themselves. Everything about life is about discipline, consciously knowing that this thing has been a problem over the years, hundreds of thousands of years, to so many men. If this then is the problem, if sex and women is the greatest Achilles heels of men, then I must tell myself the truth to know that I am not macho. I have that same weakness. So what do? I work towards disciplining myself. It's like food. We all know that if we eat indiscriminately, we're going to put on weight. If you eat 5 times a day, you're going to put on weight. If you don't exercise, you're going to put on weight. You don't even if you eat and you don't share, you don't go to burn out the fat, you're going to put on weight. If you continue to drink beer, alcoholic beverage every single day, your stomach is going to protrude. So what do we now say to ourselves? We discipline ourselves not to overeat. We try to eat once a day. Even when we eat 3 times a day, we try to cut down on the quantity and we watch our calories. We go to the gym. We take long walks. We drink a lot of water. We take multivitamins. So we do all those things because we want to keep fit. We want to look good. We want to be healthy. If then we can intentionally do all of this in order to be healthy, I sincerely believe that now is the time for men to start telling themselves the truth that every single man upon the face of the earth has one major Achilles heel, and that Achilles heel, that weakness, is women and sex. So once we tell ourselves that truth, then the second thing will be, how do you as a man manage this weakness? How do you as a man discipline yourself? How do you as a man control your libido? How do you as a man avoid that pitfall so that you don't fall like so many other men had fallen who lived in denial? Men are the only species who, when another man has been caught cheating on his wife and he's exposed on social media, men are the only humans who go and they keep typing, they keep giving their opinion, they keep blaming the man, they keep, writing, typing, posting, sometimes being cynical, laughing at their fellow brother. Unknown to them, it's just about a matter of time. They might still end up disgracing and embarrassing themselves and their family and the community, the same way this man has ended up. They brush it under the carpet. And because they brush it under the carpet, so they are not conscious to say, I will not fall the way this brother has fallen. I will be intentional. I will be cautious. I will not set up myself to fail. They never discuss it. Even when they are tempted, they never discuss it, no matter how transparent they are. No man comes back home to say to his wife, my secretary is trying to seduce me. I'm going to sack her. A colleague of mine was trying to invite me out for lunch today. She's been doing that. I don't know what she's up to. How do I help? Let's pray about it. I almost fell today. A woman had been trying to seduce me. It was God that saved me. I almost fell. Let's pray about it. Let's fast and pray. My wife, help me. No man ever wants to accept that they have this weakness. And until they begin to accept that they have this weakness, men will begin to fail. Men will begin to be seduced. Homes will begin to be broken based on the sin of infidelity and adultery. We must rechannel our brain to understand these principles, to understand this weakness. And then once because you cannot find a cure until you look at the roots, the cause. Once we've done the diagnosis to say, this is the general weakness of men, then everybody is aware. Then how do we now help our men? How do the men themselves help themselves? It is this same ignorance and lack of acceptance of the weakness of men that will make these Pentecostal churches, they will take like say 20 men, 30 men, 15 men, married men, they pull them away from their wives. Their wives are sitting 2 miles or 1 mile away from them in the church where they have more than 1,000 people, where they have women dressed in tight-fitting clothing with their boobs shooting out and everything. They take these 15 men or 20 men and put them in the lion's den, push their wives away from them, knowing fully well that those women are there to seduce those men to cause them to fail. And they use spirituality and Bible and quotation and deception to cover up all these lies, which is why there's so much sexual immorality in a majority of these Pentecostal African churches these days, because they are living a lie. They don't want to tell themselves the truth. It is this same deception that will cause a general overseer to do a threesome. After doing a threesome, immediately he puts on his cassock, holds the Bible, comes on the pulpit, and is speaking in tongues, is binding and casting, deceiving himself, using religion to cover up all his sexual atrocities. These same issues that causes us in our community not to tell ourselves the truth, not to tell men the truth. It is only in these African Pentecostal churches that you see married couples sitting separately from each other. Their children are somewhere doing their own. The husband is somewhere doing his own. Women are now dropped around the husband to cause the man to fail, because most of them are anti-family, anti-marriage. They know that 2 heads are better than 1. They know that they cannot deceive couples when they are together. So what they do, they tear them apart. And they have all these, their women, their agents who work with them. They drop all these, their agents around these men and take their wives away from the men. You know why? Because they are businessmen. They want these men to keep coming every day to the church because of this distraction of these daughters of Jezebel. So every day you see the men getting ready and rushing. Even if the wives don't want to go to, the day the wives don't say they are not attending the church, they are happy, they are rushing and going because that's distraction. Those daughters of Jezebel that have been planted by the leadership of the church to cause the men so that they can continue to come to empty their pockets, to entrap them. They've already started setting the men up to fail. It's the same thing that happens in the banking industry in Nigeria, where you see that women, the top management of the majority of these banks, they buy expensive cars, give to beautiful women, and send them out, give them unreasonable targets to meet up with every month and every year. And then the women go there and they do all kinds of things with their body just to pull these rich men to come and invest in their banks so that they can get promotion and get commission. The same method, that's the same thing, this so-called Pentecostal churches, African Pentecostal churches, that's what they do. So this is not a case that they don't know that the men have a weakness. It is intentional. But sometimes the innocent men, they may not know. And this is why every man needs to watch this. So you are a man, a married man. You were happy in your marriage. Everything was good. Going to church to serve God. And then they start giving you position. They start removing you from sitting with your wife, from sitting with your children. Of all places in the church where this same Bible says, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. This Antichrist in these so-called African Pentecostal churches, they rip families apart. I call them Antichrist because what Christ preached is joining families together, but they are Antichrist. What they are preaching is to sever families together, to cause divorce, to destroy families. So they are the Antichrist. They never abide by the teachings of Christ. They are businessmen who are ready to destroy families, pull down destinies just to enrich themselves so that they can continue to maintain their expensive lifestyle. So this is the deception that families are facing. Families who innocently go to seek the face of God, what they end up getting in most of these Pentecostal churches is divorce, is crisis, division. Some of them, they lose their properties, they lose their plots of land, they empty their bank accounts to give to these religious charlatans who care nothing about them. So men, be careful. Women, be careful. When next you're attending that church, they start giving your husband position, start giving him head of this, head of that. Be careful. As they are dangling that carrot, they have an agenda. It will mean that they have targeted your family. Be careful. Men, be careful. Do not take because of title, position, to lose your destiny, to lose your marriage, to lose the relationship you have with your wife and your children. Because if there's any place that is so diabolic and satanic in the world right now, it's those Pentecostal churches that they call Pentecostal churches. But these are occultic places where people go and they lose their focus on the things of God. The things they didn't used to do before, they begin to do it. Some of them that they used to drink before, they begin to indulge in binge drinking. Some of them, they inflict them with the spirit of lust. They begin to sleep around with those agents, those women that they have put around them, just to cause them to derail so that they can take everything from them. Because they know that once they derail, the covering is no longer there. So they can strike them and then wrap them all around their fingers and now start controlling them and manipulating them spiritually. So, men, be careful. Women, be careful. When you go to such gathering, make sure you sit with your husband. Make sure your children watch. Let there be an example. Let your children watch you and your husband serving God. That is something they have to remember as they grow. So when they come under the deception to say you don't want your husband to serve God, their interpretation of service of God is serving them and serving their purpose, building their empire for themselves and their children. Don't be deceived by those sweet words, by those empty words. Men, be focused. If you are 40 and over, begin to plan your life. If you are 40 and over, you have just 40, 45 years. Because by the time you are 70, your strength has left you. Do not build for others to reap the fruit of your labor. Do not go gallivanting around licking the boot of a man or men who are men like you. You start worshiping them because they have sweet words that they can use to deceive you, to make you think that they are closer to God than you. It's all lies. You are even holier and more righteous than them, these charlatans. Be careful. Hold your family together. Hold your home together. Your family comes first. So it is God, your family, and church. There's a difference between God and church. Don't mistake the two. Sometimes they try to deceive you by making you think that you are serving them, you are serving God. It is not true. You are serving man. There's a difference. Prioritize your family first. As a matter of fact, you will be, on the day of judgment, the first thing that will be asked, the first question, is how you are accountable to your wife and your children. They will ask you, how did you treat your wife and your children? Before any other thing, you will give account. You will give account of your stewardship in your home, because charity begins at home. So if you think you want to do eye service, you're running like a headless chicken, running from one end of a church, saying you are serving God, deceiving yourself, while your home is on fire. The day your marriage will break, the overseers of those charlatans, they will still hold on to their home, hold on to their family, while you are running helter-skelter, going from one court to the other. They will never be there to help you, because all they have come to do in your life is to kill, to steal, and to destroy. So back to something must kill a man. Something must kill a man, truly, because we are not, we are all mortal beings. Definitely, we'll all die one day. But whilst we are waiting for that day to come, what is the legacy you are putting in place? What is the legacy you are leaving for your children? What will you be remembered for? What will you be remembered for? I once shared on this platform about a woman who visited the son's home in the UK, and she would just sit directly opposite her late husband's photograph, where the son hung it on his wall in the living room, and then she would spit at this photograph and curse and say all sorts of terrible things, even though this man has died over 20 years ago. Each time she saw that man's picture, it still reminded her of the pain and the trauma that that man put her through. What, as a man, what will you be remembered for? What are your plans about life? How long are you going to be running around the streets? How long are you going to be carrying? Today you carry white, tomorrow you carry blackness, tomorrow. What is the gain? Any friend that you have, and you're on phone with that friend, or you are sitting down with that friend, and all you people talk, you are over 40, and all you people sit down and talk is that woman that I slept with, one woman that came, I'm going to carry that chick, I'm going to, then that friend, you don't need to be around such people. At 40, at 50, at 60, the kind of friendships, you have more friendships that are tailored towards how to improve on your finance, the kind of businesses you will set up, the kind of partnership you would involve yourself with. Those are the kind of discussions, conversations you should be having. Not sitting down and talking about how you go to university to pick girls, how you did this, how you lied to your wife, how they covered up. You don't need those kind of friends around you. Those are destiny killers. Some of them, they know they have already fallen. Their wives have already kicked them out of the house. So they want to drag you along so that you be under the same, you'll be part of their team. So they are recruiting as many old bachelors as possible. Flee from such friends because evil communication corrupts good manners. Now I ask you again, indeed, we know that something must kill a man, but how do you want to leave this earth? Even when you leave this earth, what do you want to be remembered for? What do you want to be remembered for? Go deliberate on this question and begin to use your tongue to count your teeth. God bless you as you deliberate and you think and you have a second rethink about your life. How do you want to end your life? God bless you. Bye-bye. Please share this video. Share, share, and share. And so please, if you've not yet subscribed, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.